Hello, loves. It's Nina with Passion Squared. Welcome back to the podcast. This week, I'm so fucking stoked. We have an incredibly special guest. Amanda is an independent hairdresser, stylist at Forma Collective in Denver, Colorado, an independent educator, a Danger Jones educator, and an incredible content creator, and someone who I have known and had the privilege of watch grow in such a beautiful and authentic way. Amanda, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Nina. I can't wait. I'm so excited to be here, obviously, because you've been a huge inspiration and mentor in my journey of life. So it's kind of like a dream come true right now.
Same. I mean, I totally feel the same. I have so many questions. So let's get into it. First, let's kind of begin at the beginning. What inspired you to become a hairdresser?
I always really, really wanted to actually be a hairdresser. I checked out beauty school when I was still in high school, so I was 17. And then I presented the plan to my parents, and my mom's like, no, you're not going to beauty school. So I went to college first to get two associate's degrees. I did that by the time I was 19. And then I was like, okay, now I want to go to beauty school. And they're like, well, since you have a 2-year degree, you might as well go for your 4. And so then I started that, dropped out, checked out beauty school again when I was 25. Then I was too scared because I was set in my ways. Then I finally checked out beauty school again when I was 28. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do this. So here I am.
Wow, that is so relatable because I was the same. I wanted to go to beauty school, and my parents said, nope.
Yep.
And I went to college, but I never finished. I never got an associate or anything. It wasn't until I ended up going back to school in 2006 uh, for an executive management program, but I never actually did the finish college. That is incredibly inspiring and such a great reminder that, never give up. Never give
Exactly.
up. If you're feeling
Exactly.
it in your body, in your gut, in your energy, in your heart. So, what are some of the things that you wish you understood when you first started your hairdressing journey that you know now?
I think one of the biggest things that kind of like hits home, especially for me, is I'm from North Dakota originally, a small town in North Dakota. Well, it's not small, it's like the capital, but to everybody else, it's a small town. And after I graduated beauty school, I moved to a town, I think it was like either 12 or 15,000 on like the border of West Virginia and Ohio. And that's where I started my career. And I always thought that, you couldn't excel in your career. You couldn't be an educator. You couldn't inspire unless you came from like an LA or New York or
Mm.
anything like that. And so I went to as many hair classes as I could and stuff. And that's when I started understanding that you can really do anything and you can go anywhere in this career. You just got to put your mind to it and be genuine.
Wow. That is so powerful and true. So, my next question fits beautifully into that. How did you grow your clientele, particularly in a small town?
Yeah.
What do you do? Tell us.
Well, this is kind of funny. I'm going to backstory a little bit. I actually never wanted to be a hair colorist, like at all. I only wanted to do clipper cuts. I love doing clipper cuts, and my beauty school instructor told me that I have to do color, and I can do those cuts while my colors process. So I was like, "You're not going to tell me what to do. You're not my real mom." Like, like absolutely no. And then she had me do, I think I did somebody's hair for Warp Tour once. I made it blue. And then I was like, all right, I really like doing fashion color. So when I moved to this small town in Ohio to start my career, I didn't know anybody. And it was very, very intimidating. Nobody would hire me. So when I finally did get a job, I found the most popular bartender in town who was also my friend. And I did her hair for free as long as I could do whatever I wanted and I could post whatever I wanted. And that's when things kind of started, like, especially Instagram was pretty popular, or even like just even making a Facebook page for yourself. And I would post that hair constantly. And what you post is what you get in your chair. And so that's when I started growing this huge fashion color clientele in this tiny town in Ohio. And it was really cool because I didn't just have that one hair color. I had her come back like the next month after it faded, and I would just restyle it and pretend that it was a completely different color. And then that's how I built up my clientele.
I love it. I mean, your content is your marketing, right?
Yep.
We talk about that so often, and that reminds me of that story Alexis used to tell all the time, at Butterfly, when she was kind of just tired of, the same old blonde bobs that, filled her books, and started doing those vivid, started bringing models in, doing them for free. And that was the content she chose to share on Instagram. Yeah, your content is your marketing. It is so, it's simple. It really is that simple. The clearer you are with your brand and you understand that. I love that. I love that. Even in a small town. What inspired you to become an educator? So you built this clientele, you're getting active on Instagram. Did that kind of draw you in? Tell us a little bit about educator, content creator.
That like 100% drew me in. Once I got to a place where I was comfortable and I was actually like making money and I was capable of being able to attend more hair events, I came to this realization that getting to a hair event from a small town or someplace like a flyover state like North Dakota is really hard and really expensive. Like, for instance, if you fly in and out of my hometown of Bismarck, I mean, you're looking at there's like 2 or 3 airlines that go out of there, 2 flights a day. Your tickets are anywhere from $300 to $500 just for your flight. When I lived in that town in Ohio, I had to drive 2.5 hours to Columbus or almost 3 hours to Cleveland to even catch a flight to go to a hair event. So it was so hard to get education when you're living in these smaller towns. So what I did when I first started my education was I like to travel to the places less traveled. So then that makes it a little bit easier for people to be able to obtain the education in person rather than just seeing stuff online. Because online stuff is absolutely amazing, but having that presence and being around like-minded artists like in person is just a whole different ballgame, and I wanted everybody else to kind of be able to experience that.
I love that. Creating that accessibility.
Yep.
Yeah, so true. So true. So you've really, of course, I follow you and am inspired by you and watching you all the time. And you've been on quite the roll lately with your content. It's just so, there's a lot of great content out there, of course. There's so many creative folks. And one thing I love about your content is it's so authentic. It's so aligned. It's so kind of back to that accessible, relatable. uh, can you share with us, how do you create, how do you find time, how do you do that while also taking care of delivering awesome experiences for your clients in the salon?
It's kind of crazy like you say that because a lot of my content is just pretty much like what I'm actually like behind the chair. Like nothing's really skits. Like that's that's really me. So we just like have fun always behind my chair with my clients. And if they're comfortable with being in my videos or anything like that, which most of the time they are, if they're not, 100% they do not have to be. I have people who come in and are like, please do not film my face. I am in my pajamas, and I get it. Like
That would be
when I
me.
go get my
That would
when
be
I go get
me.
my hair done, I remember one time I went in to get my hair done, and one of my coworkers had to do a double take on me, and they're like, I didn't even recognize you. But just keeping it fun, like what you see in my content is what an actual like appointment with me is behind the chair. I love jokes, I love laughs, I love listening, just everything. And I love meeting new people. I think that that's always been one big thing for me. So, and then finding time, I can put a video together like in like 12 seconds now. Chelsea always is like, it takes me like a week. I'm like, I can do it in like I'm like, I'll do it in like 12 seconds. I was like, give it to me. But it's like once you get going and just kind of like playing around and seeing with what people want to see. I've posted a lot of things that flop, that I think are so cool, but just flop. And that's okay because you still put your work into it. And just don't take numbers so personable, pretty much is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting that you said that it takes you like 12 seconds. And, sometimes, especially with all of the inputs, all of the experts, all of the people telling everyone, how they should create content and saying you need all 70 apps and you need this course and you need blah, blah, blah. And it's like, this is not new. Some of the best content is the content that is not overthought, right? That
Yep.
is on the fly, that is, so
Yep.
that 12 seconds, that it's back to that authenticity and that relatability that is so much a part of your personal brand. And it's really inspiring to hear that reminder, because we can all get sucked into
Yep.
the pressure and that narrative. So thank you for that reminder.
Yes.
You recently shared a huge milestone on the socials. I think it was July 7th. You celebrated 6 months sober. Amanda.
Yes.
Congratulations. I mean, wow, that's huge. Can you share a little bit with us about what inspired you to get sober and any type of like, I don't know, wisdom to help maybe someone that's listening right now that is sober curious or is struggling?
So my journey to sobriety definitely was not a straight line. I did 7 months of sobriety last year. My mental health was kind of really I say it's in a dumpster fire, drowning in a pool of gasoline that was like getting put out with a fire hose that was also gasoline. Like it was horrible. I wasn't happy anymore. I felt like I could tell it in my work. I definitely was just like not very happy. I think that you could probably get a hint. And a lot of people knew. And then like at the peak of my mental health going down the tube, I found out that my dad had cancer. And that was just like a whole like tornado into my life. And I had already previously lost my stepfather 5 years ago now, and I was a dumpster fire through that one. So I knew that I definitely couldn't go on the same path. So when I found that out, I ended up getting sober last year. I was sober for about 7 months, and it was the happiest I've ever been in my entire freaking life. I had traveled to Australia, like everything was so awesome. And it's kind of crazy when you're sober, you kind of have first experiences again. And it's a lot of fun. Like, it's a lot of fun. And then I ended up drinking again. And immediately I realized this is not for me. My mental health is still in the dumpster fire. So it's not for me. So in January, I decided to do something, and that was change my life completely. And I mean completely. So I got sober once again. And this time I knew for me to stay sober, I needed to change something. And that was everything around me. I moved into a new apartment all by myself. I am unfortunately no longer in a relationship. I bought a new car, and it's just been a really, really good way for me to find myself again and find my happiness. And it's been really, really cool. I think that the biggest thing for me was I was scared, like I wouldn't get invited to go do stuff anymore. Or I wouldn't find like concerts or things enjoyable, and honestly, it's been so much better for me. And I mean, a lot of my friends still drink, and that is perfectly fine. It's just not for me anymore. And it's honestly having the support system around you is 100% like the key to staying sober and getting sober. So it's been good, and I'm very happy finally.
That's so amazing. One day at a time, right?
Yep.
One day at a time. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful. So, speaking of mental health,
Yes.
you are very passionate about mental health. I
Yes.
am very passionate about mental health,
Yes.
as one who also has struggled. How do you prioritize your mental health? How do you practice healthy boundaries and self care when you have so many things on your plate? Uh, it's your salon business, your life, educating, traveling, creating content. Let's talk a little bit about that.
So this kind of goes back to, do you remember when we were in Seattle together?
I do.
And Nina had told me, because that was back when I was traveling, I think, every weekend. And so I would travel Saturday. No, I would travel Sunday, teach Monday, fly back Monday night, go back to work Tuesday, work till Saturday, and do it all over again. And Nina asked me, she goes, "How long do you think you can keep this up for?"
Mm.
And I said, "I don't know. I guess we're going to find out." And it is not worth finding out. I'm going to guarantee you that right now. I think that that's a big thing for where my dumpster fire of mental health happened. So now I make sure that I'm not traveling every single weekend anymore. Sometimes I need people to remind me, like, you can't do it all. Working with Chelsea Von James, she owns the salon I work at. She's absolutely amazing. She's taught me a lot because she does take that time out. Morning meditations. It sounds crazy, but it really, really works. My days off, I plan on having at least one day where I can just sit at home and do nothing. I try not to make any plans with anybody and just have your garbage day. If you need to watch like reality TV, like go ahead. If you need to scroll on TikTok, go ahead. I also started reading again. And with that, my mental health started getting better once I started taking care of myself. And I started doing stuff that used to really, really bring me enjoyment, like even drawing. Like
Mm.
these are all like little outlets that are just time for yourself. And it really, really works. So just make sure that you are taking the time for yourself. And especially with like, we're in such an age of social media, if you find yourself like dreading, hating like that post button, take a break. Who cares? Take a
Right.
break. It's still going to be there if you take a month off. It's still going to be there if you take a year off, you know? You're more important. The biggest thing I learned is that broken people can't fix broke things. So make sure that you are right before you try to fix everything else around you.
Amen. I mean, and here's the thing. I said that to you. I remember we went to lunch. Remember that
Yep.
restaurant? Yeah, that was oh, I missed that. Um, I'm a former workaholic. That's my whole story. That's why I
Yep.
left my career.
Hmm.
That's why I ended up in treatment. That's,
Yep.
so I only speak from experience.
Hmm.
And I also know that sometimes we need to have that experience, you know,
Yes.
and that's such an important leadership lesson in, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. We've all heard that so a million times. And we want so badly to fix, right? We want so badly to control. And sometimes we just have to just hold space for people and let them find their bottom, let them take that stumble, and we'll always be there, we'll be there. um but yeah, it's not sustainable, guys. It's just not, and we are all worthy of feeling a little bit more joy in our day. It doesn't have to be extreme. You don't have to be an addict and get sober to practice self-care. You know what I mean? Like, we don't
Yep,
have to be in those extremes. We can just be like, you know what? The world's not going to end if I
exactly.
take a breath.
It really won't.
It really, really won't.
We promise.
Yeah, we promise. We promise. Do you have a favorite quote?
I think that my favorite quote is I have two of them. It's never forget where you came from and
Mm.
always remember why you started. So I think that like we tend to get lost a lot along the way. Like I know I was when I was traveling all the time. And now that I actually take care of myself, I've sat back and thought about all of like the cool things I've done and why I did them. And I'm like, dang, that was cool. Like,
Yeah.
but at the time, I was just like, I was planning for the next thing instead of being in the moment.
Mm.
So never forget where you came from and always remember why you started.
I love those. And it reminded me, the world I used to be in was that I was constantly on the road. I would, big
Mhm.
job, big responsibilities, workaholic, and so lost in it all, particularly towards the end. And one of the things that I love is watching you and so many folks like you when you're traveling, that you actually stop and like do things in the town, in the country. I've
Yes.
traveled the world a million times over, and I never did that. I never did that. And I don't live with regret. However, it's such a powerful reminder for me. And I get, again, get so inspired, and I get so much joy out of seeing you experience those things and making time for those things, because they are as important.
Yes,
and
they are.
and those quotes really, really hit home with that message. So speaking of traveling and being on the road, what education things do you have coming up?
So I also don't have to educate at everything I go to anymore. That's a
True.
huge thing. It's good to go to stuff. I'm going to BarberCon. Danger Jones is going to be there for the
Love
first time.
it.
And I just like with me, I used to love clipper cuts, and I was like, this is perfect. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get my learn on and support my fam. I'm going to the Hairbrained event as a
Nice.
student. I'm really
Nice.
excited. It's my first time in Palm Springs, and Chelsea's educating, obviously.
Yeah. Yep.
She's a hair god. And then I'm teaching my first independent class of the year in Michigan at my friend's salon. And I'm really, really excited about that because I've been holding off. I've been asked a lot to teach independent education again. And I just wanted to make sure that I was ready and right first before I did it. And I'm at a really good place in my life right now. So I'm ready to educate, not every weekend,
Right. Yeah.
not every weekend again, but I'll be educating in Michigan in September, the very end of September.
I love it. Where can we learn more about that?
That is actually on my Instagram. Click the link in my bio.
Awesome. And so your Instagram is at, you all got to follow Amanda at Manda. It's I don't know if you listened to the episode that we did with Brenda, but me and my pronunciations of names and stuff. And then before we started recording this episode, by the way, I'm like, Amanda, what's your name? Is it Amanda or is it Manda? And I was told it's both. So that's really complicated for a Libra, uh, but but I get it. Okay, so Amanda's Instagram is Manda. Is it heart? It's heart,
Harsh.
heart.
Harsh.
Um,
Yeah. That's okay. Sometimes people call me Hershey. I'm like, how did you get that from there?
well, I could see Harshy, like if people
But
are
not
doing the
Hershey.
CHE, not Hershey. Yeah. Um, you know what? It also messes with me because of dyslexia, because of my dyslexia. Okay, Manda, Manda, Manda
Yes.
at Mandaharsche.
Yes. We threw a bunch of unnecessary letters in there when we were named, apparently.
I think it's gotten like, I think that my struggles with pronouncing words, names in particular, has gotten worse with Instagram, because
Oh, yeah.
everyone's so creative in
Yeah.
their IG names.
Yep.
And sometimes, especially when I go live and I'm like, and I feel terrible because using names, it is such an
Yes.
affirming action and
Yes.
so incredibly important. And I just, oh, it gives me a stomach ache because I'm like, I can't pronounce. Like, can you help me with? Oh, Amanda, thank you so much
Thank you
for
for having me. It was fun. Thanks
joining
for laughing with
us
me.
today. I love laughing and I love you. Again, I'm so incredibly proud of you. Uh, you inspire me, and I know you inspire thousands and thousands of hairdressers and folks around the world. So be sure to follow Amanda on socials. And if you are inspired by this episode, a message that we shared, please share this with someone that you feel would find value in what we talked about. Thank you so much for listening. I'm incredibly grateful that you're here. Your time is valuable and precious. And so I'm really honored that you chose to share this time with us. Remember to be where your feet are and have a peaceful day. Bye, everyone.